Welcome back to another camera channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about the brand new Storm 400X from Aputure. What an exciting time to be alive. We have a new light in the Storm range. This is the 400X. And as just a recap, we've had the 80C, the 400X, the 1000C, the 1200X, and of course the big boy, the XT52, which is huge. I haven't made a video about that light yet, maybe in the future though. But today we're talking about the Storm 400X. And right off the bat, I want to tell you, if you have a 300D, a 300X, or a 600X, this is going to be your replacement light most likely. Now I say most likely because the regional manager of Korea brought this light to me and we did some tests against the 600X. And most of the time, this light beat it in output and color accuracy. However, the caveat is, if you look at these pictures here, you will see that the beam angle is much more concentrated. Okay? Even though the tested output figures in the center of the beam are brighter than the 600X, it is down to that beam angle being more concentrated. However, the 600X is an old light now, and I don't think they're even making them anymore. So this is the logical answer if you're looking for something in that output range, which is a perfect interview light, which is bicolor. And as you know, with Blair, we still have access to those color options. This is going to be a fantastic light, and a lot of people have been waiting for something coming in this size range. What this will not do, however, it will not be a 600D. I believe they're not making the 600D Pro anymore. They just make the standard version. So we're still waiting for something that's going to come between the 400 and 1000 or 1200 range. There's a big gap there still. So there must be a light coming in the future. I don't know when. Maybe it'll be another year. Maybe it'll be less than a year. But whatever that light will be, I don't know what output number that would be. Would it be a 720 or an 800? Who knows? 900? Maybe that's too close to the 1000C. I'm not sure. But whatever light that will probably be our 600D replacement. But for now, this is not a light to sleep on. This is a fantastic fixture. And I'm sure you agree with me that this is super cute. In terms of size, a bit fatter and stubbier than a 600D and 300D. And it just looks beautiful in terms of matching the other lights from the lineup. I think the design team have done a fantastic job at keeping all the features consistent and the way they look. We shouldn't be buying lights for the way that they look, but these aesthetic reasons it's just bonuses really, isn't it? It is a very pretty looking light fixture, and we just love the Storm lineup, don't we? Now, what are we going to be using this light for? Well, absolutely indoor interviews where you have a controlled environment. This thing is where it shines. I'm not quite sure about how good it is beating the outside daylight, because I think the 600X was still quite weak in that area anyway, but maybe in certain situations that would be perfectly fine. So during my testing, I used it on a short web series, and we teamed this up with the 1200X and we blasted it through some windows, and it did a good job. Obviously, it's not anywhere close to the 1200X in terms of output, but it still came in handy as we had a lot of windows to cover. Now, I've already talked about Blair so many times. You already know what I'm going to say. Blue, lime, amber, indigo, and red chips, all combined in this lovely frosted and dimpled cob cover here, giving you amazing output and amazing color accuracy. I don't really need to talk about Blair anymore. If you want to know more about Blair, you can watch these older reviews on the 1000C and the 1200X. So what do we get in the box? Well, I'm going to start off with the reflector first, as this is the standard reflector you get. It is a 35-degree reflector, and super easy to put on and off due to the Storm's awesome Pro Lock. If you've never seen this before, instead of having to put in your bones accessories and twist them in a very awkward fashion, you now put them in and then turn this lovely lock, and they are locked securely in place. And it's very, very strong. Power cable is the same. It's a very standard power cable that we're very used to with Aputure products. Head lead is a little bit more different this time. So it is a 5-pin head lead, and it's also accented in red. That may be just to match the Storm lineup, as we see the red accents on the emblem here. But yeah, first time I've seen red on the head lead itself. So before we plug it in, let me show you the ballast, which is super cute as well. Look at this. How amazing. How beautiful. It's like a beautiful baby. Wow, amazing. So more red accents. We have a lovely embroidered Storm 400X there on the handle. And what's nice about this ballast is that everything is now on the top. So we have our power input, DMX in, DMX out, and our head lead connection here, which is indicated in red, all on the top of the ballast, which I think is a really great idea. That leaves the sides to be battery plates. And apparently you can run this light at 100% on batteries, which is not what we're used to, especially with the bigger lights. It was always like a 50% maximum. Now we can do 100% apparently. Very exciting about that. The only other input on here is the USB input for firmware updates, and that's hidden on the side here under this little tab. And on the front we have the same standard buttons that we've been getting with the Storm lineup, and we have the twisty knob and then the power button. And on the back we have our lightning connection here, and it says engineering prototype on the back here because this is not a light I'm keeping. This is just for shooting this review, and I'm giving it back to Aputure. So let's turn it on and talk more about the light. So we give it power, and studio mode is turned on. So there we go. Very bright. What was the percentage of that? That is 100% at 2500 Kelvin. As you can see, I'm completely overexposed and I'm getting burnt. I think that's very, very hot. One thing that we love about the Storm series, of course, is the inbuilt CRMX. So we can control our lovely light here with something like that, which is a Sidus 1. So if you have one of those, or you have another wireless CRMX transmitter, then you're golden to control this light wirelessly. So let's connect that up real quick. Now, unfortunately, there is no 400X profile yet in Sidus Link Pro. So I've had to assign it as a 1200X, but they pretty much work the same. So I don't think there's gonna be much of an issue right now. So what's cool about this? So CCT range. First, let's go to 0.1%. Let's do CCT changes. So we have a range of 2500 Kelvin all the way up to 10,000 Kelvin, which is a very nice range. You can see it's quite blue, and all the way down to a nice warm color there. HSI mode is always a popular one, so we get all the colors here. And I'm just going to bump up the intensity just a bit more. So let's go 0.5%. All these lovely colors. And this is my most favorite kind of capability of the Storm lights, is just being able to use color. Even if this is not an actual C light, even the X's have access to HSI mode. So very happy with that. Very, very cool. And even in color modes, it is very bright. So that's a blue. Let's scroll around the wheel here. Greens, yellows, oranges, and reds, pinks, purples, and back to blue again. So let's go back to CCT mode, as this is incredibly bright. So my recommendation would be, if you are using any of the Storm lights, you should invest in like a Sidus 1 or something, and Sidus Link Pro, because it does make controlling them very, very easy. Of course, it still has Sidus Bluetooth, so it still works with the normal Sidus Link app, but Sidus Link Pro and CRMX just has a little bit more capabilities, I feel. So it also means that you can use this light with other apps as well, which aren't Aputure related, like Blackout, of course. If you're serious about lighting control, then definitely CRMX is something to look into. So aside from this lovely reflector that we get, we also have a Fresnel, and that is called the CF7, because it is a 7-inch Fresnel, and it has barn doors as well. So let's take a look at that. It comes in this lovely carry case, and just like the CF12, you can leave it assembled in the case, which is going to make things much more speedy for you. By standard though, it does come separated like this, so we have space for our Fresnel here, and then our barn doors on the front. But yeah, look at this bad boy right here. So again, very easy to put on with the Pro Lock. Slide it in here, give it a little twist, and done. And now we have a Fresnel. So this is in flood mode, and this is spot mode. So let's have a look from the side. Spot mode. Flood mode. Barn doors time. So just like the CF12, super easy to put on your barn doors. If you bring them in from the top like this, slide them down, and then push in the little button, they are now locked in place. And it seems like someone's put them in upside down. And as you can see, the leaves of the barn doors here have this lovely felty fabric on there, which is heat resistant, because when we were doing our initial testing, it was getting very, very hot, but it didn't set on fire, which was obviously good. This is going to be awkward. It seems though on this set, it's missing one of the fabric panels. So Ignore this. Your one will have all fabric panels on there, I'm sure, but this one for some reason doesn't have it. But the one we previously tested did, so don't worry about this. And of course the sides have these extra leaves as well, giving you more control. You can't really see my face right now, so just maybe I'll have to show you with B-roll instead. But there you go. There's a nice 8-leaf design here. And this fabric is there to help reduce reflections off the leaves. And it is also rotatable as well, just like the CF12. Pretty much the same design. And when you want to remove them, all you need to do is press the little button on the bottom and then slide it off the top. So now we've talked about the Fresnel, let's talk about the carry case. The ADC was very, very small, right? Tiny little case. This was the ADC's case. Very, very compact, but you could fit everything in here with a Fresnel with the barn doors as well. But this 400C case is rather large. In fact, it's very similar size to the 300D case, if you're familiar with that. Maybe there could have been a more compact way to get everything in there, plus a few more accessories, who knows, but that's the size that they've gone with. So there's not much else to say about the 400X apart from it is a fantastic light and it replaces a lot of the older fixtures that we were using before, but it is still leaving a gap in the market somewhere. There is some mysterious light which may come later on, which is in between this one and the 1200X. Considering how popular the ATCs were, I believe this is gonna be a very, very popular light because, like I said, it replaces so many of the older fixtures. It has a Blair technology, it has CRMX in there, IP65 weather resistant because it's in that Storm lineup. This is gonna be the new hotness, I think. Perfect for interviews if you're teaming this up with a couple ADCs or maybe an ADC and an Amaran 300C, something like that. Perfect combo for a 3-light setup. Or if you wanted more power, you could get 2 of these or even team it up with a 1200X. But the light quality you're gonna get out of this with the Blair chip, beautiful. Is what we've been waiting for. I'm sure you've been waiting for it as well. Go check it out. There'll be links in the description. Thanks so much to Aputure Career for lending me this light to do this review. And thanks to Aputure for making such a beautiful and cute little light. We love you. I hope you found it interesting. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe for more content just like this, and I'll see you in the next one.